Alright, I'm just going to start recording here. Cool. I was going to work on a new level for cheapskate, and I decided what I would do is just make a video and pretend I'm doing a tutorial of how to make a level for cheapskate. Because literally anybody can use the exact same process that I use, because it's actually already online. So the proverbial links are in the description, but all you need is Godot engine and editor, and then my cheap ass project for like working, like doing the levels, kind of editing stuff and exporting your level. So here, let's just go here, go to Godot engine. Currently this is really only supported for Windows, but technically you could probably do this in Linux. And maybe even somehow, you know, on a Mac machine through Linux or something. I will support the other platforms eventually, but this is still so early in development, I have to focus on one platform at a time or this will never get made. So that's Windows for now. So we come here and just download 4.51 is what we're currently using. I would like to make a donation. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to save that. So that has saved. I'll just put it even on my desktop. There we go. So that saves really quickly because it's really small. And that's the greatest thing really about Godot engine. So if you look at it here and we look at this, that was 73 megs. Okay, so we just downloaded the Godot engine and editor for 73 megs. It's not like it's Unreal or something where that would have been how many gigs? It's just so not wasteful. I love it, you know, like all modern corporate software just exists to fleece you of your money by taking resources and making you pay subscriptions and making you buy video cards you don't need. Alright, that's my rant. So yeah, the other great thing about Godot is that there's literally not even an installer. So inside here is like, here's the editor. I can just put this wherever the heck I want and just start working. Like it just doesn't even matter. So here, I'll just do this right on my desktop. I'll make a new folder here on my desktop. I'll call it Godot. And then inside this folder, I'll make, how about just a new folder, and I'll call it the engine, Godot engine, why not, just for fun. And then yeah, I'll put the contents of this in here, even though all I'm going to use is the executable, not even the console, but I'll put that in here too for now. Cool. And so what I'll do is over here I'll put the project, so I'll put the cheap ass project over here. So on my desktop I've got Godot, and then inside there I've got a folder for the actual engine, and then I'll, you know, have a folder for the other. Cool. So yeah, there'll be a link in the description. Just go to Godot engine, you know, .org, download. And then you come here, and it's getgood.io/jds/cheapass. That'll be in the description also. And then this is the cheapass project. So I'm not even signed in. This is exactly what you would see as a public repo. You could just download this if you want to just download it. I recommend, like, make an account, make a GetGood account. GetGood is not evil. And then just, you know, you can use GitHub desktop with GetGood and just paste this repo in there and just clone that repo anywhere you want it. And then you can continue to get latest, because this is constantly updated. As I'm working on the game, I'm working on this project as well. My game is 2 projects. It's the cheap ass project, which is for creating assets. Currently that's levels. And then it's the cheapskate project, which is the game itself. So I work in 2 projects, and I leave my level creation project totally open and public, so anybody can come and download it, and like I said, do exactly what I'm doing and make everything that I've made so far. I keep putting everything into this project, and I keep cleaning it up, so it's early, don't like rely on it too much. But yeah, point is, you can come here and you can either just download the whole thing, or you can, you know, create an account and essentially, you know, pull this repo and then like keep pulling latest as they're updated, so you can get all the updates to the project and continue working on your project. But for now, I'll just download it really quickly, just to, sure, I'll just save this, to my desktop again, because I just don't care right now. Here we go, let that complete downloading. It's not a particularly huge project. Here we go, let's see how big it is right now. In 19 megs, there you go. So I'll open this up. and you can see this is the project, which is cheap ass. So this is just like the insides of any, when you look at a Godot project, this is generally what you're going to see. You're going to see like an assets folder, add-ons folder, and things like that, and like these things, and blah, 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 blah. So cool. So what I'm going to do is just copy this directly into here. So on my desktop, like I said, I'm just keeping this really simple. I just went and I downloaded those two things. I downloaded Godot engine and I downloaded the cheap ass project. So now I have both these things in here. I can run Godot by running this, and then I can open the project that's in here. And the project file is really just the project.godot that's inside this folder. So let's just do that really quickly. Let's just run the Godot engine. I can even just close my browser now. I don't need any of this stuff open. So we'll run this version of the engine right now. Let it fire up. And it's gonna see, because I do have, you know, the engine installed right now, so it's gonna use a shared hub, and then it's gonna find these, you know, projects that I already have here that I use. But I'm going to specifically not do that, and I'm gonna import this project, which I have on my desktop. I'm gonna have to edit this. Here we go, desktop, Godot, cheap ass main, project Godot. Alright, cool. So I'll import that and open it. So this is what you would see if you had downloaded Godot and then also downloaded the cheap ass project. You now have the project here. First things first, it's important to note that the instructions here, there is one set of basic instructions here. Let's get to cheap ass here. And that's started, so there's no real instructions here yet. It's all just really basic. I haven't like really made this readme, but this is important, and you got to do this. And this is going to change soon also to be just easier, so you don't have to do it. But you do currently have to set up the export template essentially, and name it what the game, you know, the project expects it to be called, which is this export cheapskate level. So you just have to come here to project. Export, you have to add a Windows desktop export, and then you have to rename it cheapskate level. And then don't worry about this stuff. It gets these templates aren't used, but this is what was necessary to just create one so that it's here, a Windows one, and then to name it this, so that our project, when it runs, is going to manually sort of export for you. And set up some settings, and it needs this to exist so that it can go in there and set up the settings. That will all be automatic eventually. The best way to start is to save as. You can do multiple things. You could duplicate. So over here in the bottom, when you look at the contents of this project, there is a levels folder. There's two levels that are in here. I'm going to remove this. Currently the test level, my gap test level, I put it in here just as a novelty, just so people can poke around and look at it. I think it's probably just more confusing than helpful, so I'm going to be getting rid of that so that all there will be is this template level. And you can duplicate, like literally come in here and just duplicate each of the files. I think it's a little simpler to save as. So I would open up tscene, SCN is a scene file in Godot, which is, you know, that's a file, a level, a scene, for lack of, you know, anything. It can be anything, you know, it could be a single model or a character or a whole level. It's a scene. That's just the file, you know, the file name and the name they use. So cool. So let's open this up. It's a template level. Like I said, it's very simple. There's not much in here on purpose. There's just a very kind of handmade ledge, and cheap ass art donkey, and then a spawn node and like the floor. So I find an easy way to go about this is to save as. So I'll save scene as, and here in the levels folder, I'll make a new folder. So I'll make a new folder and I'll call it, I kind of wanted to make like a pseudo contest level, so I'll just call this one like contest 01 or something. original. So we have a folder in here called contest01, and then what I'll do here is call the scene, like what I want to call it. It's not going to be templates level, it's going to be like contest01. And I'll call it something better later. But that's a starting point. Cool, so I'm just going to save that in there. So now this is saved in here. What's important to note is to look at like what's in the folders for the existing levels so that you can start duplicating and make sure you have the same thing. So currently all I have is the scene file, and you can see like the test level, you know, the gap test level and the template level have more than that, right? They have a scene file and they have a script file also. So what I'm going to do to make things really easy is just duplicate this existing script file and call it like mine. So it'll be like contest01.gd, and that's Godot script. So that's over here now, and then I'll move that into my folder, right? So I've got my scene and my thing. So up here you can see that my scene that I have open has, you know, the template level script. So what I want to do is remove that. You can detach script with this X over here, and then attach a script. So I'll just come over here and I'll browse and I'll open contest01 and say load. So now my scene, you can look at this back in 3D, my level, which is contest01, I can see a little script file here, and I can see that it's using contest01. So now I'm kind of set up in the sense that like I have a scene, that's my level, it's in its own folder, and it has its own script that is associated and attached to it. So I'm sort of got a good start here as far as like this is almost ready to export. The next step, let's just quickly make sure, let's have a look at our script. All the default stuff should be here. So I shouldn't need to do anything. This is just some default stuff which will change and move, but it's just like this is where some things live for now. They live in the level script. So first of all, to be able to export this, because again, what this project is basically just a simple wrapper to exporting things into a format that the game can understand. So the game is going to want two files. Essentially every level is two files. It's two pack files. The one file is an info file with information about it's essentially the config, the meta, the INI, and then the other file is the actual level data itself. And then this project sort of helps you export those two things. So what we need is a config file to be able to do that. So you can see the other two levels that are in here, the template level and the test level, both have a config file. There's a template level config and there's a test level gaps config here. So they are started. One thing actually that's worth doing is you'll notice that like these other levels have like a JPEG, and that's the JPEG that's going to ultimately be the preview image that's shown. So I'm just going to make one of those really quickly. I'm just going to go like this and go, yay, there's my preview kind of thing. And I'll go get that and copy it into the appropriate folder. So that would have put itself into my pictures, screenshots, and I'll just go get that. Here it is here. I'll go get that and move it into where do I have everything right now? I'm on my desktop, Godot, and then this project, cheap-ass main. In my levels, in my new level, my contest level, I want to put a JPEG. That's this JPEG. Oh, that's a ping. I'll just quickly save that. Open with. I'll just open it with GIMP. Actually, I want to make it 1024 by 768 also. Let's see what size I did for the other ones, because they don't necessarily need to be huge, because it's displayed pretty small. These ones are 640 by 360, so I'll do the same thing. My contest level, whatever, is going to be 640 by 360. So real quickly here, let's just scale this. 640. Okay. And then I'll canvas size this to 360. Real quick here. Boom. Center it. Maybe even like that. There we go. Beautiful. Here's this great image. And I'll save it as a JPEG. So yeah, we're in my desktop here. In Godot, cheap-ass main, here's my levels, here's my contest level, and I want it inside here. And I'm just going to call it the same as the scene and the script, just to keep everything consistent. So this will just be contest01.jpg, and that's that. So I now have a thumbnail also inside here. There we go. So my level folder looks a lot like the other ones now, right? I've got a scene, a JPEG, and a GD script. So here's my scene, my JPEG, and my GD script. Cool, so I'm ready to make what I don't have, and that's a config file. So as you can see, these other levels have their own config files, but I don't have one yet. So to make that, I can actually run this project, and this project can do 3 things. So when you run it, this is the stupid little UI, but you can do 3 things here. You can, number 1, this whole panel up here is for creating or editing your CFG file. Once you have a CFG file already, you can just open it. When you come here and you run the project, you just open it. And then you can export your info pack anytime the CFG changes. So if you change your description, if you change the thumbnail picture, that's what goes inside your info pack. Your info pack is literally this config file, this text, and then also the JPEG. And that's essentially what's used when the game is looking at levels. So the game will parse the levels folder and look for all the info packs and only load those because they're smaller than loading the entire level. So they'll load all the info packs, and then from there, that's where it gets the description. So in the game, when you're browsing levels, you'll see a little description, a name and a description for each level, and even a thumbnail that's coming out of the info pack. Cool, and then the level itself is in the level pack. So this whole 1, 2, 3 is sort of the 3 things that you can do. That's the point of this project. It's just like a little helper project to help you export things so that they can be used in the game. So I'm going to create my own. I'm not going to open or save one. I'm going to make my own, and I'm calling this contest 01. I already said I was calling it that. Now your ID and your display name, it's really the same thing. This just allows you to have a longer name. Big snazzy contest. You know what I mean? For the name of your level, because that's the display name, but your actually ID of the level doesn't have to be this long thing with spaces and all that. So that's just the point. Anytime I do assets, I always have a display name and an ID, so this is just probably more just, legacy habits more than anything. But that's all you need to care about. Give it an ID, and then you can give it a display name or whatever, but the game will always reference it by its ID, specifically the checksum version of the ID, which is this. And then a description. So, as said, it's a big snazzy contest. I could only hope to get there, And then this is your team, it's a me. And yeah, and then you could call out, cool people that helped. You can type whatever you want, but this, I just figured, hey, it'd be cool to have the stuff, so when you're level browsing, you can see the team name and then even some credits or whatever. So this is important. This is just, it needs to know. It's just well, where does this live? It lives in here. It lives in the contest folder. And then the scene, you just got to browse to the actual scene. That's inside here, and here it is, contest01.scene. And then the thumbnail here, which is inside here, and it's the contest01 JPEG. And so with this information, when the game, all this information just basically goes into the info pack. And that's just a little info pack that's going to have this file plus the JPEG. So that's what the game can use to sort of know that there's this level that exists without having to load the whole level. Like I said, when we're browsing levels, it just needs to load this little thing, and then it's got a little picture and a description, so you can browse a whole bunch of levels and then load the one you want. So okay, so right now I've done all this. I can save this config file. So it's going to save it here, levels config 01. So I want to save that because I would like that to be a thing. And now you can see here it is. And I can come back wherever I was here. Here we go. And then now I'd like to export the info pack. So I'm going to export it. Unfortunately, there's not a lot of feedback on the user interface here right now as far as anything happened, but it's important to just look at the output down here. The game essentially is running, so that, not the game, this project is running, so there is output happening. And it says success, because I at least put that in. So we have an info pack now that has been created. And so now I want to create the actual level pack. So let's just create the level pack. I'll export that. So boop, 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 we're doing these 2 things, let that do its work, and then that has now completed also success. So here's what's interesting. So now what I've done, I can just close this, is, like I said, I just really quickly opened the template level, I saved it as in its own folder, I duplicated the script and renamed it, associated it with the level, and then made a quick screenshot, a little 640 by 360 screenshot in here, and then ran this project to access the interface to create my config file for this level, which I just did, right? Which was just, the config file just tells, is just a piece of text that says, here's the path to the scene, here's the path to this JPEG, here's some text describing it, and a name. And that's it. So cool. So with this start, what's cool is I can close this and I can come back into my levels here. So here I am on my desktop, Godot. Remember, I was inside the project here and inside the levels folder. And so here is my stuff. There's extra files that you see now when you look at it here, but the core files are really just this. Those are like meta files for the Godot engine. Again, it's my scene, the script file, and then the little JPEG, which is just our thumbnail. So back out here, you can see that I had exported the info pack, contest01 info.pack, and contest01 level pack. So these are the two files that the game is going to need then to be able to play this level. And like I said, it'll parse the info file to find out about the level pack, and then if we decide to load it, it'll load the level pack. So what I can do is I can literally just go and put these inside my levels folder of the game that I have off of Steam. So an easy way to do that, ignore the games that I have here. Long ago I worked for Activision and just somehow had some sort of free pass that gave me every Activision game. So they're all just still sitting here in my thing. You can right click on Cheapskate and go to Manage, and then go down to Browse Local Files. And then what that'll do is it'll open up the actual folder where the game exists. So here you can see the executable, there's Cheapskate, and then here you can see the folder, and that's levels. And right here is just all the levels of the game. So you can just take this level that you just made and copy it right inside here, and now the game will find it. Because what the game does, again coming back here, when the game's running, it looks for the levels folder, it looks inside here, and it looks for everything called _info.pck. So it finds this one, it finds this one, this one, this one, and all these are really small, because remember, it's just a text file in there that has information about the actual level file, and has a little JPEG, and then has like a little text description and name of the level. So it's very lightweight for the game to just load all of these and have them loaded so that you can browse levels with that meta information basically. And then you just load the level that you feel like loading. So right now we can actually go back and run the game directly from the executable or whatever from Steam. It's all the same. And so here we are. And when I start the game, now I can go to the pause menu, and over here in the pause menu, in this list, we'll now see Big Snazzy Contest. And if I click on it, you can see this, the JPEG, and then here's remember the team, it's me and cool people that helped. And it's Big Snazzy Contest. And here's the description. As said, it's a Big Snazzy Contest. So we can even load this, I can hit go, and then here we are. It's just an empty level. And that's all it is. We have hidden cheap ass, because that's just the game hides cheap ass, and then he'll be shown for the challenges. So this is pretty cool. So now we have basically like our workflow. I wish I had a reload, but I don't currently. Like, you can leave the game running right now and just copy the level into here and then like load. So what I really want to do is have like a reload button, so that all you'd have to do is reload. But right now, anyway, let's just do it. We'll keep this running, right? Let's come over here, we'll keep this stuff here, we'll get rid of this for now, I don't need this for now, just sort of getting back to where we were. Okay, let's open up Godot, and now let's do something, right? So cheap ass, we can just kind of move, cheap ass doesn't need to be here. What's important are these things over here, right? So right now we have our floor, this is just a helper, just to help you out. You got something here kind of thing. There is a tool. There is a tool that has been made by our community, so you can just go and work inside Blender, and then you could do a lot of work inside Blender and then just sort of export it and then import it into here, and a lot of things would happen for you. Right now I'm just going to show the basic workflow. So we have a floor here. Every object that I'm working with, I'm just adding metadata that's down here on the right hand side for various things. The most important one right now is terrain, and that's your sounds. So this one, I'm put terrain concrete, and so it'll sound like concrete. I can make a box. I like to just work in this CSG workflow. So I can add a child node, box, it's the CSG box. These are equivalent to like, I don't know, whatever you want to think about, like brushes in like Doom or Quake or whatever. It's very basic stuff, but it all works. So here's just a simple example. I could take this and make like a tall ass ledge. Just a big ass box, right? If I want to make a big ass meter tall box. And the physics, like I said, the dimensions are, as I've kind of been trying to say, the whole point of the game is to have relatively realistic dimensions. So if you're wondering how tall you should make things, a meter, how high can you jump? How high can you ollie? You know what I mean? A quarter meter, a half meter, a meter is pretty much what I've been basing the whole game around. A meter is a very high ledge, you know, a half meter is a high ledge, a quarter meter is a low ledge, and, you know, 0.2 is a step. So yeah, in any case, this one, let's just do it. It's a meter. You can jump up onto a meter, but let's say that's going to be wood, right? So down over here in the metadata, I'm going to add metadata. I'm going to add a string name. I'm going to call it terrain. And then over here, I'm going to give it a name, and it's going to be wood. So this is going to be wood. And it'll sound like wood when we're on it. And then let's see, so the spawn node is over there. So let's put our spawn node, let's just move it for the heck of it so that we know something changed, and put it here, facing our big wood box. And I'm not even going to give this a texture or anything right now. I'm just going to save that, which isn't even necessary, because when you run it, it auto-saves anyway. And now I'm going to export it. So you just run this again, but now I can open my config file because I've already created it, right? I don't have to make it anymore, it exists. I just have to open it so it knows here's what we're working with. I don't have to export the info pack because I'm not changing anything. If I was changing this text, or if I was changing the thumbnail, then I'd want a new info pack. That info pack is fine as it is right now. So all I'm changing is exporting the level pack, because that's what changed. I added this big ass box. So let's hit export here, and then we've now exported, let it go. I'll get some text down here saying success. Boom, success. So I can close this, and then I just copy this. So come back to the levels over here, and then all we need is the level pack, because that's all that changed, right? We didn't change the info pack. Copy that over into here. Here we go, replace the one that's there. And then I still have the game running. Unfortunately, like I said, reload doesn't like reload, so I need to actually load a separate level. And so I'll change that, you know, so there actually is reload, so you can iterate quicker. And then here we go. Oh, right, okay, so this doesn't have collision, so I'll just do that really quickly, but you can see it's in here, right? So I can iterate quickly. I can say, oh, that wasn't right. I need to quickly change this. Let's go iterate. So I can grab my box over here, and I can hit use collision. And now we've got collision. I can quickly hit play and just re-export this. There will be a copy phase in here. Right now, you need to copy every time, which is tedious. So there will be another field here, which will be like, where do you want to copy this level right now, kind of thing, so that you then don't have to do this, which is copying it from the project into the game, right? So here we are. The game is still running. I really wish I could just reload an existing level, but I can't, so I'll just load a different level and then load this level again. Trust me, I'll be doing it. And then bonk, see how I hit this? And then let's see if we can hear. So this is all concrete, and then this is wood. Hear it? Concrete, wood. So there we go. This is the very beginning of making levels for Cheapskate. It's really that easy. You go and download the two things that are in the link in the description. The one is Godot 4.51 for now. I'll update the description or make a new thing. I'll keep going with this. I'll add Rails and stuff, but I just wanted to review. Yeah, you know, you download Godot 4.51 for now, and then you go to Get Good, go to the cheap ass repo, and you either make an account and sync to it so you can continue syncing to it, or for now just download it and put it somewhere. It's just a Godot project. So you just, like I said, download Godot, put it in a folder wherever you want, because there's not even an installer. Put the project in a folder somewhere near it, whatever, and then open it up, and then open an existing level, the template level, and save as, and then duplicate the script, assign the script, and then make a screenshot for the thumbnail, and then yeah, run the project and make a config file. and then export the info pack, and then export the level pack. And then you copy the info pack and the level pack into the levels folder of your game. And then away you go. So let's just keep adding to this. What I'm going to do is I'll put rails. So quickly I'll just put rails around the whole outside to show you that. But the two most important things right now were just that. How to like take the template level, how to download Godot, how to download this project, this helper project, and then how to clone existing level to start making your own, and then how to add something into it, and then export, and then see it in the game. And like I said, one important thing is these like I said, we have concrete and wood. Those are the only two surfaces right now, so it's important to put that metadata. But it is also possible to, there's another important piece of metadata. So let me make a wall. So I'm just going to get another box here. Let's get another one of these boxes. I'll put it over here. So, cool. So we'll make this tall because it's a wall. Here we go. Look at it go. Look at this wall. Alright, cool. So here's our wall. And I'm going to slide this over a bit. I'm going to make it even like thinner so it's kind of this thin wall. And then let's remember to give it collision. And then, yeah, so I'm going to say that this is also concrete. It's not wood. Or maybe it could be wood. Who cares? It'll be louder. So yeah, let's just do that right now. So I'm going to add that metadata. It's string name and terrain. Right? So terrain. The metadata here is wood. I'm just going to say there's a big wood wall. And then there is another flag that you can put in metadata. So this one, the terrain, is the most important one, so that things sound, you know, as you're cruising around. And the two that we have is concrete and wood. But the other type of metadata that you can also add is flags. And not the best term. And that is essentially gameplay flags. So what we're saying is, and this one's really important, the really only gameplay flag that I currently have is wall ride. So currently you flag which vertical surfaces you want to be able to wall ride. Otherwise, everything becomes wall rideable and weird things can happen. It is also good to still put wall ride on some low things, particularly like some ledges like this, if it's not super complicated geo, which I'm going to do right now. And I'll show you why. And that's because this game supports wallies, essentially wallies, and slappies, kind of. So you can directly slappy up into a wall ride without jumping. But that only works if the surface is tagged. So sometimes it's fun on a tall ledge to flag it as wall ride so that you can slappy up the side of it, which feels cool. Okay, cool. So I add another box here, right? And I said the terrain was wood, and I said the flags, the gameplay flags, was wall ride. And then my existing one, which already was wood, I added the wall ride one to it so that we can wall ride up the edge of it. Let's just see that really quickly. So let's just run this again. Let that go. Open up. All I do is open up this. There's my config file. I don't need to export the info pack because none of the information has changed. I'm just now iterating on my level. So all I do is open the config, export my level pack. And like I said, the next step is I have to manually copy it because I haven't done that yet. I haven't added a field to specify. So down here it said success. That's good. I can hit stop over here. And then back here I can copy. Because like I said, I just don't have that happening automatically yet. And then here we are, we're back here. So, and like I said, now trust me, I'll do it soon. I hit the wrong button. Very much hit the wrong button. Let's get back to the game, good. Yeah, I'm gonna have to just load a different level and then load my level. There we go. Cool. So there's the wall, right? Because we put that wall in here, and here's this thing. And this should sound like wood, which it does. And this is kind of neat. We can, did you see that? We can wally up into it, even from a manual. Like, whoops. There we go. Did you see it? There. There's no ledge. When you wally or slappy, you also automatically go up into a grind, but there's no like grind thing there. But as you can see here, we can wall ride this because we put the wall ride flag on it. And it even does the cool thing. And it sounds like wood, which is the goal. Cool. So real quick, let's put rails on all of these, and let's just put a quick texture on them. Let's do it. I'll just leave it running. It doesn't really matter. For the textures first, I'll do that here. I'll do this here. I'll just call this a giant manual pad. I'll just call this wood wall for no other reason. In the materials over here, you can load, and there is already what I've done on purpose in this project. There's a thing over here called base level assets. Here, I'll just close it. We can browse it a bit. And in here, there are a bunch of materials that I've already made that are things that I'm already using. So there's a whole bunch of textures that are just simple 512 by 512 bad, simple, tiling textures. And then I've made a bunch of materials from them. So it's just good starting points to be able to like work and do things. So cool. I'll just do them as different wood. Like I'll do this one as a light colored wood that I have. Wood light, here we go. And then this wall, I'll do it as like that darker, I have a wood mid, how about that? Cool. So the wall is like this, and then the other one is this really light wall, light wood. Cool, and I can turn this off to be able to see things a little nicer. Cool, so let's put grind rails on this one. So something that I generally do is, so what we're going to do is actually be adding splines. And so I don't want them to be sitting like loose in the world, and I also don't want them to be children of this box. So generally what I'll do is just sort of make an empty node and make that be the common parent. So like I'll have this manual pad or something, like call it giant manual pad. And then like I'll just call this the manual pad mesh, you know what I mean? And then inside here I can add what I'm about to add, which is going to be the path. So the path 3D is essentially just a spline, and that's what I'm using for rails. So what we're going to do is add like 2 rails so you can grind on this. I'll add 4, I'll add 1 on each side. So let's just add all 4 of these right now. Path, add child node, path, and add child node, path. So here we go, we have 4 of them that are all, like I said, I've just sort of grouped these all together so that they can easily be like one thing that I can grab at any given time. So usually what I do is I go into the top view. It's just sort of a little easier to quickly work with the path nodes. The path nodes are very simple. So you just select one, and then you have this new sort of interface up top, and it's essentially for like managing it. So the green one is to add a point, so that's what I'm going to do here. So with each of these, I'm just going to add 2 points. I'm just going to go around the clock, because each of my splines is really only needs to be 2 points. So the first one's going to be here, and then the second one, I'm still on the add nodes, is going to go from here to here. They're just 4 separate rails, so to speak, that you can grind. And the second last one goes there, and then the very last one goes here. Boom. Cool. So first thing I do is switch from the create or add point to the move and edit points and select points, because I just, eventually, mess up. So at any time that you select, you can see as I select any of these nodes, you can see it highlights the points that are like on that spline. So the spline itself is, the object you can select in the hierarchy, and then its points are like, you have to see them in the world over here. So it automatically puts everything down onto the ground, so I already know that those are going to be down on the ground and I want to raise them up. So I select, and then that's with shift, I select both the points, and then I just kind of come over here and raise them up. So here's a key thing. What I generally do, like there's these little helper lines that are on splines, and you can see them here, these little green lines. So what I usually do, and you can see how they go down a little bit, and you can see it disappearing into the, so I usually do it so that they're like halfway kind of thing, and that's about, because I don't want it totally flush, because the skater will snap, and I don't want to like be clipping too badly, and I don't want to be floating too high above. So what I've found is like when I'm kind of like about halfway, it's good. And then same thing as far as distance from the edge of the rail. I don't want it completely on the edge. I want it more like in a little bit. And usually, again, that's like about half the distance of one of these little helper things. So these little helper things actually help me out a lot, like I said. So I go down in about a depth of the half to go down, and I leave about half of them hanging out. The hanging off the one side is super important, and like being overlapping is important, because that's how it determines front side and back side currently. It's like, is there a ledge here and no ledge here? So you don't want this hanging off the actual rail. And same thing here, you really want this to start on, not out here, because you could get on and then there's nothing on either side and it won't understand, is it front side or back side. So the whole rail has to exist like on the object so that it has a clear definition of what would be on or off the actual ledge or rail. So like I said, that generally works really good for me, is generally using these helpers and going about half. So the depth is so that they sink in about half, and then hanging off they sink in about half. And that pretty much does the trick for me. And then same thing, like I said, about half of the distance of one of these helpers in from the edge as well. So now this rail, you know what I mean, is like about almost usable. It's not on the ground anymore, it actually takes the right shape. So there's two last things that happen with rails. The game finds rails because they're in the rail group. So anytime you have any kind of node selected, over here on the right hand side in your inspector, you have, your usual, like, here's how you can set properties and values. But there's also another tab over here called node, and then there's another tab in here under that called groups. And that's super important because these are the groups that have been created that the game understands, and these belong in the rails group. And so that means when the level's loaded, the game will automatically search for all rails, and it'll have these in a list so that anytime you're grinding or hitting the grind button, it knows to try to look for rails, snap you to rails, move you along rails. That's how it finds them. The game finds them by putting them in the rail group. So every one of these needs to get added to the rail group. It's usually like what I do in this process. It's like I make the path node, I add my points, I move my points where I want them to be, then I set it in the rail node. The last thing that I do then is put the extra metadata, because this also has terrain noise. This is wood, the box is wood, but this rail could be anything, right? So I support angleIron, concrete, wire, and line. Sorry, angleIron, concrete, and line, and rail. Sorry. So angleIron is that. It's angleIron. It's metal, but it's going to have a dull thud kind of ish sound, and I generally use it for anywhere where there's wood because that's what it would be. So I'm just going to use that here. I'm going to say it's terrain, string name. There we go, and it is angleIron, and that's it. Like I said, the other types of terrain, like specifically for rails that are supported, are concrete. So it could be a concrete ledge, and it'll sound like grinding concrete. And then there's also rail, which would be like a metal rail, so it has that ka-ching kind of noise. And then there's also line, which is meant to be like power line or something like that. And it has like a very much like as if it's grinding along a metal wire, and there's zapping and snapping noises happening. So that's what I use for power lines. But the most often I'm using angleIron and concrete. Cool. So that's this one, right? So I created the path node. I added the points, I moved them where I want it to be, I put it in the rails group, and then I set the metadata for the audio, like for what it is, you know what I mean? It's angleIron. So I can do that with the rest of them. So I can just select this one now, and then see, okay, that's this one, so I can shift select both these points, and come over here and just move them up. And I just, like I said, I just zoom right in, and then have a look at those helpers, and go up about half, so that it sinks in about half, and then come and look at it here, and go over about half. And then come to the edges and make sure that they're not overhanging or too far in. And again, I do about half of the helpers. So I've placed that one, move my points to where they want to be, add it to the rails group, and then give it the metadata for the terrain. And like I said, I'm going to make this one angleIron. Cool. And you can copy paste. So at this point, I have a rail on this side, and I have a rail on this side. So I could delete these other two and just copy paste these and move them where I want them to be. There's one gotcha there, and that's that rails are like a shared resource. So when you look at this path that I have over here, this path is actually this curve over here that was created. And if you copy paste, the actual curve is still pointing to the same curve. So if you edit one, the other one will also edit. It's no big deal. You can just come in here and say make unique. This is just another step that you have to remember to do when you're copying and pasting rails. If you're never ever going to edit it, it's going to stay as is, then that's cool. Otherwise, you want to copy paste and then make unique. So, I mean, just that alone, extra step is just for me. Most of the time, I can just make the rail itself instead of bothering with the copy paste. But yeah, cool. So I'm raising this up, doing, like I said, the half depth in, half over, coming over here to make sure it's not overhanging or unhanging too much or too little. That's great. Put it in the rails group. and give it the terrain metadata for angleIron, like I said. And if it was a a concrete ledge, I would do concrete here, and it would have that really nice chunky sound. Cool. So let's just do the last one here really quick. Just shift select both points, raise it up, zoom in to have a look at it. Like I said, about half depth and about half overhang according to those little helper lines. And then same thing out the back and front. The direction of the rail doesn't matter. It will always just go by like your direction that you're moving. So it doesn't matter like if you start here, end here, start here, end here. Cool, so these points have been placed where I want them to be. Add it to the Rails group. Add my metadata. One of the cool things with the Blender plugin is that it does Rails for you. So it'll take the terrain of the object itself and put that information in there, and it'll look for any right angles like this and just auto-create Rails for you. So it really is useful to use that. I'm just showing the quick and super simple way of just making things directly in Godot. It's not necessarily the appropriate or right or best way. Anyone who's actually really good at level editing will want to be using Blender and the Blender plugin. So someone hopefully who does that kind of stuff and uses that can help make a tutorial on that kind of thing. And again, this isn't so much a tutorial, it's more just like a quick example of like, yo, check it out, here's the state of things. You could, if you wanted to, already come and start messing around. So this is really the most important starting point. Like there's other things that you can do. You can also make gaps. You could even already make challenges, and you could even already make photo goals with NPCs, and you could even already make cutscenes. I don't recommend doing that. All those systems are going to keep changing like a lot. But what isn't probably changing is the basics. So anybody can already come and just start making geometry that's skatable, tagging it with the appropriate sounds, right? That's really the only like special thing, is tagging things with the appropriate terrain sounds and the appropriate gameplay sounds, flags if it's like a wall ride, then you want to be able to wall ride it, and then adding the rails. Like rails are like a pretty solid system. That's done. That's not going to be changing under your feet. You could build just about anything right now that isn't quarter pipes. The game doesn't support quarter pipes yet, and there's really absolutely no rush to do that. It may eventually, but not yet. Okay, so I'm going to really quickly just add 2 rails onto the top of this, because I think that would be fun. I'll do the same thing with this one, where I'll give it like a handle node, you know what I mean? Like just an empty node, and it can sit inside there. And then my path nodes can be siblings inside there as well. So add node, path node, cool. So same thing, I like to go up to the top view, and then just look at my object, and select the path node. Oops, I put a node 3D. That's not what I wanted to do. I wanted to add another path node. Cool. So here we go, and I go into the add, right? And come up here, and I'll just go bing, bing, and then select the other one and go bing, bing. Cool. And then, like I said, immediately switch to select instead of add nodes. And then, yeah, as I said, it places those on the ground. I'll raise them up here, zoom in, and then have a look at the helpers to help me out. So, like I said, I go up and down until, yeah, the helper lines sort of bury about halfway in, down, and then hang it out so the helper lines hang out about halfway. And then I just go check my edges. And this one I feel is like too far from the edge. This one looks really just about right. Like I said, the helpers are hanging off it a bit, and that's all I needed. So that one's decent. I can come over here, add it to the Rails group, and then come over here and add metadata. This is wood, so I'm going to also just say it's angleIron. So terrain, angleIron, boom. And then I'll just do the same with the other ones. So we have the second rail down here on the other side because it's fun to shuffle. Shift to select both of them, slide this up, zoom in, and then, yeah, like I said, use my helpers till the helper thing is maybe buried about halfway down, and that's like a height that I like. And then same thing, the helpers till they're like hanging about halfway the width of. And then come check the back, make sure it's not too far off or on. Good enough. Same thing with this one, a little too much to the edge that I prefer. Cool. node, make sure it is in the Rails group, and then also add our metadata for audio, sound, audio, whatever, terrain sounds. So terrain, and it is angleIron. And all this probably seems like a pain, but once you just start doing it as a habit, like the second I created a box, I also put a basic material and 4 rails on it that already have audio, cues and everything, right? Like if you just begin there, then it's just easy. Everything you do after that is pretty straightforward. Okay, so let's see where this goes. I'm just gonna save that, even though save isn't necessary because it saves as soon as you run. Open up my cool exporter stuff and then open up my config file. Boom, and then I'm just going to come over here and export the level pack because that's what I'm doing. I'm editing the level and re-exporting the level so that I can test it. And then yeah, like I said, I have to go unfortunately and copy it because I don't have that yet as a phase. So I come and copy it into here, into the levels folder, and then in the game I can reload the level, which unfortunately I don't have a level reload, so I got to load a different level and then load my level that I'm testing. So I'll do those 2 things, and that'll, drastically help people out. So here we are. I have like a rail now, right? And it makes the noise, the appropriate noise. Nice. Skate this all day already. Woo. Let's grind this thing. Woo. Nice. So there you go. I mean, these are really just the basics. That's just all it takes right now. Is download Godot. Right now it's 4.51. In the future it'll be something else. No big deal. Download this project, and then first time you open the project, make the template. This, you go to project export, and then you go add Windows Desktop to make an export preset, and make sure you call it this, export cheapskate level. And that is explained right here, like, so when you go to get good to like come and get the cheap ass project, the only instructions that I do have so far are that, but they are accurate and appropriate and necessary. So you do that and then just close it. You don't have to care about it anymore. And then yeah, like I said, just do what I did at the beginning of the project there, which is just come into the levels. I think is the best thing to do. Just open the template level and then save as, and make a new folder, and then save, that scene. Duplicate the existing script, name it, that same as your level, and put it in your level folder. Take a screenshot, save it at 640 by 360 or whatever, something small because it just doesn't matter, and put it in here with this, and then you're basically good to go. You can just run the project, make a new config file, because here's the 3 level folders, here's the 3 level config files. Every level has its own config file. You can look at it if you like here real quickly. Let's just open this, show in the file manager, and then open it in something like Notepad++. And you can see it's just the checksum, the ID, the display name, the description, the team name, the credits, and then this is for the game, so it knows where to load it. It's like, here's where the level pack is, here's where, inside that's the scene, and then inside that there's the JPEG. So it's just information so the game knows how to load the level. And that's that. It's pretty basic. And then as you just start making things and adding things or importing from other 3D programs or whatever, you just run it and export it. You create your config file for your new level so that your level has one. And then from then on, you just open your config. You want to export the info pack the first time, of course, and then that only have to re-export anytime any of this information changes. And then from then on in, you're just like editing your level and re-exporting your level. And then as your level gets interesting, you probably want to do a new screenshot and then like export a new, info with the new screenshot inside it. but that's the start. It's that's it. So just wanted to kind of show that, because I think it's kind of fun. I think it's already kind of fun to just be editing, you know, your own levels and be able to do this. You can create, like, I've done everything just right inside Godot. I just haven't felt like, you know, opening up Blender personally right now. But that'll be the way to go if you want to do, like, obviously more complex things. But there's a lot you can do just with that. It's a lot of fun. I think it's cool, and I'd love to see some levels. I'd love to see some people starting to make them. The answer to everything's no. Like, if you have a request, you know, like, oh, it'd be easier if it did this. It's like, yeah, that's great. I don't have time. Obviously, you know, I want to make this better. But, you know, the game is the more important thing, you know, right now. And if I'm able to make my own levels for the game with this tool set, then that's kind of good enough for me for now. And I'll keep making it more, you know, usable for ordinary people who like me later in the future. But for now, if you'd like to tag along and hack along, I'd recommend go for it. Yeah, download these two things and start playing around and making levels. Don't get too attached to anything. Don't try to make a big, you know, opus or whatever, because stuff's going to change. You're going to have to change, you know, your level to deal with stuff that's changing, because the game's still being built. But just, you know, make some experiments. Just screw around, have fun, and share it. Yeah, so anyway, look forward to seeing what people make, and I will try to support this more and actually make some, like, normal videos that aren't, like, just me babbling for, like, an hour. But yeah, cool. Thanks for showing up.